upon lies have been projected. So Tabasa Nigeria Shisha, we get the people that will argue with us and say Nigeria is going to work. But as usual, my job is to remind you that Nigeria is not likely to work, and it has never worked based on the foundation. So share the program. Hopefully we have some few hours together to educate and also continue to highlight some of the problems and also discuss other gray areas that I believe we should be talking about. If you're new to my channel, you will probably be frustrated because I read a lot of your comments that keep saying, Koiki, okay, more good news was in Nigeria. That I always bring news that are frustrating. I did not create Nigeria, okay? Nigeria was created by British, and it is them that you need to be asking those questions why Nigeria is not working, not me, okay? So don't put your anger, don't put your frustration on me. I am just doing my job to tell you about the contraction known as Nigeria. So if you like, get frustrated. Even if you like, hit your TV, make you break out, break your mobile phone because of me. That has nothing to do with me. I am about 3,000 miles away from Nigeria. I live a good life. I have at least comfort. I can guarantee that I can provide for my family. And I hope you can do the same thing for many of you that are in Nigeria that continue to live in denial that Nigeria will prosper. Even your churches, your mosque continue to give you this false hope that Nigeria is getting to where it will work. But most of them know that Nigeria is not going anywhere and it's not going to work. Well, don't expect much from them, you know. They are all part of the game plan to keep your mindset and to make you feel cool. That is why they always say, pray for Nigeria. God Almighty is coming to bless Nigeria. Stop living in that denial. God is not coming to bless Nigeria because God could create in Nigeria. So if you're still one of those that believe in that nonsense that God is coming to, you know, to fix Nigeria, I pity you, and it will be too late by the time you realize that, wow. So in terms of people in so otitoni, first and foremost, British knew that we can never be one because we are all different people. But they went ahead and created this monster known as Nigeria. And many people bought into it. And many people believe it. I will continue to tell you that there is no amount of Yoruba politicians that will tell you that Nigeria is on the path of glory. Believe that, you will die in the process of such. The whole system in Nigeria is built not to work. Good morning, every one of you that have joined us. The whole system is built not to work, and is a deliberate act And what can we do is to find a common ground and be truthful to ourselves, to be able to be bold enough to say, let us bring a conclusion that we can create more nations from the giant known as Nigeria, which I think is just an ant anyway. But many Nigerians complain about so many things, from healthcare, security. Many of you started complaining about the levy, the cyber security levy on your bank account, stamp duty, the breakup of your homes, the injustice. It's been 2 years that the Lagos State murdered Ayonwola Bamishe. 2 years, and there is no justice. And there's likely not to be justice anytime soon for many of you. But the criminal politicians are so excited because many of you in Nigeria, and those that believe in Nigeria from outside, because we have many diaspora that are tuning and believe that Nigeria is going to work. Okay? Most of you diaspora that continue to fool those at home. Operation Keep Them Poor is what the politicians have done for a very good time and for a very long time. The whole system is built not to work for anyone. So, and the solution that we are propelling is for us to get our way out of Nigeria. But some gullible Yoruba people are so adamant, very, very adamant. They believe that they are well educated, and the non-educated one, that we will come in a way that we will hijack the power from the system. Awajeki or work for everybody. Somebody like Showore is doing that, hoping that one day it can hijack the power and then make a Nigeria that work. If you're also one of those thinking in that direction, some of you will survive Nigeria before you die at age 52. The majority of you will not survive it if Nigeria continue with the path that is taking right now. Ọ̀nà tó ń gbà lọ nísìn, ó ti ń lọ sí ọ̀nà ìparun. And for us not to be involved, because many of you think that it is me and Igboho that is creating all the havoc in Nigeria. Many people believe that, especially the idiot Yoruba people, that I, Igboho, and Baba Kitoye are the one making the push to bring this instability in Yoruba land. But the truth is, the English people, or the British people, mostly the English, created this problem that Yoruba people will never survive. You will die trying to survive due to the fact that your true identity has been taken away from you. I just woke up not too long ago, and I thought it'll probably take me another 2 hours to sleep. But every little time I have, I will make my own mark. Because for every day I come out, internet continue to lock it that this guy was out. So that by the time we eventually get to our nation, which we are going to, by the time Tabade Ibitan law, at least people would know that It was not a day journey. It was night, afternoon, morning, and all odd hours that we were making effort to get these results that we want. And in anything you want to do in life, whether you want to prosper or not, o máa gbìyànjú. You cannot just assume that into fẹ́yìn máa wá without effort. It will be an effort, and that is exactly what we are doing today. So what I want to just focus on is the whole system is built, I think I should say the whole Nigeria, because I've not put an headline to my write-up yet, which I'm doing right now. So I'll probably say the whole Nigeria system was built, I think it should be was built not to work for anyone. And the solution is Yoruba nation, Yoruba people to exit. I think it should be Yoruba people to exit now before it is late. Torí pé many of you that were in Nigeria and saying it's just coming up to 10 past 4 a.m. Time konola they were in Nigeria. You are becoming frustrated, but you are looking for a way out. The way out is Jakba, but that's just a temporary solution. The real way out for us, ọ̀nà àbáyọ gangan, òun ni kí a put effort wa láti, I don't want to use the word force, but continue to ask àwọn tó jẹ́ politicians wa within the Southwest, what is their agenda for us as Yoruba people within Nigeria? What future ni Yoruba fẹ́ nínú Nigeria? Àti pé for how long la máa live within the confinement of Nigeria just because I feel satisfy the politicians? So when many of you say that èmi àti Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho ni a fẹ́ dá Nigeria rú, I always go back and ask myself, tá a bá tẹ̀ jáde pé à ń jáde for the purpose of what we are doing today, tó ló yóò tẹ̀ bá wa dá sí tí kò get involved and everybody is just, I'm just doing my own thing like many of my friends in the UK today. Because majority of my friends that don't been in the UK, they keep asking me that, why am I stressing myself lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Nigeria since I don't live in Nigeria? At least I have been able to exit Nigeria long time prior before kate tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ Yoruba nation, because many people always see me as the enemy. Èmi àti Olóyè Igboho, you see us as like the enemy of Nigeria, pé àwa gangan la fẹ́ràn Nigeria. But nǹkan kan ló gbé mi sá kúrò ní Nigeria anyway in the first place. I didn't leave Nigeria because of anything. I left Nigeria because I wanted a better life for myself. And we're talking about some 24 years ago. So if along the 24 years we have done everything possibly best within the 24 years, depending on everybody has different years that you left Nigeria, I'm just talking about my own. We have done so much within that period to support people back home, to support the Nigerian community, to work with the vision that we will have people that would come up with the true reality when Nigeria is not what it's meant to be. But we have not been able still to fine-tune what was the real problem. We were all just thinking that, okay, military rule for a very long time, they took advantage, they were doing their thing because nobody could ask them questions. They were very terrible people, the military regime. And after the military left, we end up having these, I will be mentioning your names as I see you in the course, but let me just try and focus on the conversation. 1999, there was like this beam of hope that things will start changing. Even work in reality, whether after the 1999, things were working, the economy was booming, you all have jobs, there's great opportunity for everybody regardless of who you are, there is security, you can take 1 + 1, make it to 2, the government deduct your tax, you are working in the private sector, the public sector, you are a self-employed, you are a business person, there was production going on in the country, there was vast amount of opportunity. Even if all this was happening since 1999, even if, for argument's sake, we can still come up with the fact that with all that we want to exit Nigeria, which evidence show that those in Scotland today have everything you can think of. Everything that you can think of, the Scottish people have it. And Scotland is a country. Listen to this. Scotland is a country that is part of a UK or United Kingdom. So when we talk about United Kingdom, you'll be talking about the Scottish people. They have devolution. They have their own official language, which is Scots or Scottish, Gaelic. They speak English, and they also use the British Sign Language. They spend pound sterling, but tó bá wo Scotland currency, ó yàtọ̀ sí the British currency. I don't have the Scottish one. Hopefully, one day I will have it to show you. So when you look at the British pound is different from the Scottish pound. The Scottish people are well represented. The population today of Scotland remember that the whole of UK population is 66.84 million as at 2019, and that is between Scotland. Taba your Scotland kúrò nínú number yẹn, it would drop back to about 60 million roughly, because Scotland is about 5.4 million and UK is 66. But the reason why the number is 66 is because Scotland is part of that number and Wales. So if we knock out Scotland from that number, you are not going to get 66 anymore. You will get about 60 million. If you knock out Wales population as well, which is about 3 million, you would then end up having about 57 million, the population of UK. Let's even leave it as the Yoruba people in Nigeria, based on the statistics, is about 45 million. What then is difficult to understand, that the Scottish people that have everything you can think of, they are doing very well. They have the basic amenities to survive. Let's look at the Scotland Nigeria, the Scotland one minute. Let's first talk about the GDP. The economy of the Scotland is an open mixed economy and is the second largest economy of the 4 countries of the UK. So UK is embedded as a 4 country, but the same UK government or the same UK empire created Nigeria. But what they gave us was like for us to live in harmony and unity and peace through a lot of deliberation, discussion, which would have eased the tension in Nigeria if we have followed that pathway till date. They knew that it would be difficult to live together even after the fraudulent amalgamation. One more difficult, one more hard for us to live as one body. That is the reason why almost the same system that was created in UK was accepted towards the independence, even though we know that we didn't get a true independence because the British wọ́n agbára lé North lọ́wọ́, and that is why the North believes that they are born to rule and they are better than me and you, and that is why British told the Northerners, don't take anything apart from the military, hold on to the military and you will suppress the rest of Nigeria. And I can tell you that almost every of the Nigerian officers, from Babangida to Buhari to Obasanjo, and many of them were all trained in UK in Sandhurst. They are all British trained. But the Northerners were told that for them to be able to hold on to the power, they have to make sure that they control the military. And that is why, as of today, there is still rumors, evidence, whatever it is, that there will be a coup in Nigeria and they will take out Tinubu. Tinubu will no longer be the president if there is a coup. And we've seen that Tinubu, since he came to power, has been doing everything to please the military, whether the ones in there or the one outside, like the Babangida, the T.Y. Danjuma, and the rest of them, the Obasanjo, they're all still well connected. The military are always connected. And the likelihood that there will be a coup in Nigeria is still going to be happening. You might say it's not going to happen, it can never happen in Nigeria. It will be backed by the West and it will succeed, and they will take out Tinubu, and they will take down the constitution that is a fraud that was created by the first place by the same military, and they will then have a military administrator across the 36 states, and that would mean that that will set us back even much as it is right now. When people come out and always say, Koiki àti Igboho, ẹ̀yin lẹ ń destroy the government of Tinubu. Koiki àti Igboho àti Akintoye, ẹ̀yin lẹ ń dá Nigeria rú. I just laugh. Ìpínlẹ̀ Nigeria ti dàrú because the Scottish people that are part of the UK that is giving us that number of 66 million have what they call an open mixed economy, and it is the second largest economy of the 4 countries of the UK, because the Scottish have enough gas and also crude oil. And many Nigerians that study geologists, and if you are into crude oil or oil and gas, your best bet is to go to Scotland, at least to start the career path, and then move out of Nigeria, out of Scotland, or remain in UK. I have a friend that studied, he eventually died in Saudi Arabia. May so rest in peace. You know, he made so much money. One of our brilliant during my time at Abeokuta Grammar School, one of our best. But he died a few years back in Saudi Arabia. Even the death is a very, very mystery one, but it's not for public consumption. He studied something to do with geologists, or what. He made a good money. Do you know that? And I'm reading from what I have here on the, on my laptop. It had an estimate nominal gross domestic product, which is called the GDP, of about 211.7 billion pounds in 2023. And like I told you, including oil and gas extraction in the country's continental shelf region. You now wonder if Scottish people have this vast amount of money within a country called United Kingdom. What makes up United Kingdom is Scotland. But what then try to baffle people like us is that Motele, most of what we know today is because we started understanding what is true independence and what do you call a country and how do you relate as citizens. The reason why we cannot relate with Nigeria, whether through direct or indirect, is because Nigeria doesn't value us as a citizen. It does not matter. I mean, I'm outside Nigeria. For the period of the time I've lived in UK, even with my access and accessibility to most of the leaders within the Nigerian community at the press of a button, I know every one of them. I have at least a bit of access that I can push there. I remember people will always say, Koiki, I've issued a Nigerian passport. Do you know if somebody can just help us? It's in urgent. We need traveling certificate. We are pressed. A Nigerian has just been kept in the prison. And we take calls and we push, and sometimes our response have been heard to. But in reality, as a citizen of Nigeria in UK, what is the value between me and Nigeria? What is the relationship? What relationship do you have as a citizen? I'm not talking about Nigeria. Those of us outside. What kind of relationship do you have with Nigeria as the citizen? Your relationship, Olumi. Do you have a cordial relationship? Do you have a relationship where if you run into something that needs assistance, you can call your embassy and say, I am OLAYOMI KOIKI. I am presently in UK and I am stuck. I need help. Do you get that kind of help? I am not saying that we are not seeing some kind of help depending on the ambassador that was brought to your country. Some of the ambassadors that came, they tried their best. I engaged some of them. But the true picture is that you as a citizen, you are not even valued outside the country. Then, anyone in Nigeria, do you think that your government values you as a citizen? What makes you a citizen? I am a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó pín lágbára Jésù Kristi. A máa nífẹ̀ẹ́ Nàìjíríà ni. Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà kó dá lágbára Jésù. Inshallah, lágbára àwọn onílẹ̀ wa, blah blah blah, blah blah blah. What really make you as a citizen of the country? What are the indices? Let's look at citizens. What does citizen mean? You know, a citizen of a country. If somebody say, I am a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, what does it mean? According to the information I have here, a citizen is a participatory member of a political community. Citizenship is gained by meeting the legal requirement of a national, state, or local government. A nation grants certain rights and privilege to its citizens. In return, citizens are expected to obey their country's laws and defend it against its enemies. But many of us have done exactly what it entails to be a citizen in our own little confinement. Ọmọ Nàìjíríà nìyẹn o, máa ṣe tí ó máa tàpá sófin Nàìjíríà, máa ṣe tí wọ́n máa fi máa sọ pé Nàìjíríà ló ṣiṣẹ́ yìí. I believe a lot of us have done it, you know, but we will always have those that would not. Why do you then think that we are not granted the right and privilege? Do you think that you are granted right and privilege as a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Are you granted the right? Ǹjẹ́ o lẹ́tọ̀ọ́ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ ìlú tó ń pè ní Nigeria since you have been born? Ask yourself that question. Do you think that you have the right? And if you think you have that right, has that right been manipulated? Has that right work for you? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ̀tọ́ tí ó jẹ́ fún ẹ gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ orílẹ̀-èdè Nàìjíríà, ǹjẹ́ ẹ̀tọ́ yẹn, ǹjẹ́ ìlú yẹn ṣẹ̀tọ́ fún ẹ? The Minister for State for Health was speaking at the Arise TV, and he was asked a very pertinent question. This is 4:30. Probably before we end this program. Probably. I don't know. There's a likelihood that outside my house, a citizen will call for an assistant, whether through an emergency that is happening within their house, because emergency happens, whether it is somebody with health crisis, Maybe somebody is just cooking something and there's a fire. Maybe somebody is assaulting somebody and there's a need for the police. These three, we are likely to hear the sound of the siren going. That is subject to if somebody made a call within this community. That means the citizens are gaining from the privilege of the government. But ìwọ tó wà Nigeria nìsín, at this hour, at this particular hour, do you think that the government cares about you as the citizen? Should you run into any kind of assistance or help? Ǹjẹ́ o rò pé government lè fún ẹ ní support? I am not talking about business support now. I'm talking about at this early hour, 4:30. If there's an emergency, if there's a crisis. But the politicians are always saying that, yes, we are going to do this, we are going to do that for the citizens. But yet, rather than doing what is meant and right for the citizen, they are doing the opposite. They've used us against each other. They've manipulated us. They've subjugated us. They've suppressed us. We can't even have a say. You would thought that we are no longer in the military era. But do you know that this current administration of Tinubu is even worse when it comes to the right of freedom of speech? Maybe some of you are not following. Lately, in the last couple of months, the freedom of journalists have been tampered with by Tinubu administration. And the Tinubu administration is not the first in the world to deal with freedom of journalists. Do you know that Saudi Arabia, the one that Tinubu left, we are told that Tinubu will return back to Nigeria tomorrow. If that does not happen, it will open a flag that something is wrong with Tinubu. But I will leave it till tomorrow. Hopefully, by this time tomorrow, Tinubu should have been back in Nigeria. That's what we are told. Because some say he's dead, and some say he's alive. Some say he has been injected with poison. All that I don't know. It is just what is circulating on the social media. And please don't tell me pé ẹ ti gbọ́ nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀. Pé Koiki ibo ni wọ́n ti gbọ́ yẹn, ẹ̀yin náà ti gbọ́. I am just helping you to say it out. And I am not one of your bloggers. I am not one of your vloggers that cannot say it. We are told that Tinubu is dead. That is what information is carrying on the social media. But I don't think he's dead, because we are told that Tinubu will return back to Nigeria. But we will wait and see video evidence to prove that. Let's come back to the bully of Tinubu's crime against journalists. But it is not new. It is not just Nigeria. There are countries around the world that they are very, very crazy when it comes to journalists. Even America is making all effort to take. How many people know WikiLeaks? How many people take money for WikiLeaks? How many people knows about WikiLeaks? WikiLeaks was founded by a guy called Julian Assange. Julian Assange is an Australian editor, a publisher, an activist who founded WikiLeaks in 2006. It came to the wider attention in 2010 when some reports of the killings and so many other atrocities committed by the American government continue to be released via the WikiLeaks. The American government were not happy that some of those information that are classified end up with WikiLeaks and end up in the public domain. And as I speak to us today, Julian Assange, and I'm going by just 3 hours ago, posted on the Sydney newspaper called www.sydneycriminallawyers.com, which you can verify for your own record and purpose. To appeal or extradite, the UK court set to decide on Julian Assange extra-legal show trial. Julian Assange has been fighting very hard with his campaigners that if he's taken back to America, he's not going to get a fair trial. And that is a civilized society, you will say. In the UK, l'America, they don't detain journalists. The extradition case against Julian Assange has been close to coming to some sort of resolution for at least 4 years now. And over the last 5 years, the WikiLeaks founder has been remanded in the United Kingdom prison under conditions of prolonged isolation, which the United Nations consider a form of torture. US President Genocide Joe Biden told the press that he was reconsidering the case last month after Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese backed a motion calling for the release of the publisher, which was one more robust than our fearless leaders' years-long mantra of enough is enough. This is in UK and America. Now let's come back to Nigeria, the shithole country. And I'm just looking from what Showore posted some 21 hours ago. Police is holding FIJ journalist Daniel Ojoku for cybercrime. But the same central bank, according to Showore, is using the newly amended Cybercrime Prohibition Act of 2015 to rob Nigerians, while the police is using the old Cybercrimes Prohibition Act as a tool to cage journalists. What we are saying in UK today, what I am saying on a daily basis, I dare not attempt it in Nigeria. If I do, everything I say on a daily basis, if I dare say it in Nigeria, you all know what would be the end game. And that is why when people say, come back to Nigeria, they are not telling us to come back to Nigeria. They just want us to come back to Nigeria so that the crazy Tinubu government or the previous Buhari Fulani government can do their worst to perpetrate their crime against people like us. Because those that doesn't like the truth, or probably they're just a little bit crazy that you are enjoying in UK, you to come back home so that you can come and suffer a little bit, as if I was the one that started their suffering in the first place. I was just like you when I decided to leave Nigeria long time ago. And it is not my fault that your parents could not see the foresight that Nigeria was draining and it was going down faster. Our parents saw it and they knew that it was not or reliable or no point for me to live in Nigeria. That is the reason why I plus my other sisters were removed out of Nigeria for a better future. Future that you share in Sari and Nisin, that many of you wants to japa, that you are running helter and skelter trying to find a country to go to. That future, my mom saw it 30 years ago when she left Nigeria. So let's stick back to the topic and link it with other things. It's just coming up to 1:45. We are literally 48 minutes into the broadcast. I've found a topic to the topic for this morning. The whole Nigerian system was built not to work for anyone. But solution to wà ní pé mo kẹ́yìn tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi láti Àkúrẹ́, Ọ̀bẹ̀lẹ́dùmarè á bá mi dúró tì yín, àní rí jàǹbá Fúlàní, á dẹ̀ máa fi ṣẹ̀ṣọ́ wa. And I hope as we continue to fight for our quest to self-determination, eventually one day, that is not going to be that long more, we will hoist our flag officially in our territory that belongs to us, and we can start our own government that belongs and represents us as the true citizens in that country. Because most of you today that continue to blame myself and Igboho and Babakitoye for the mysteries of what is happening in Nigeria. I have spoken about Tinubu, and you are probably just new to my platform, or you are probably not watching my full broadcast. If you have watched my program yesterday, you will not be asking that question at the early hours of this morning. Most of you love to watch gossip and porn and other programs, while I am spending hours and hours trying to educate you. The program we did yesterday, the beginning of the program, focused on Tinubu, whether he's dead or alive. But we are told that Tinubu will return back to Nigeria tomorrow, so I'm not going to be repeating myself. So you can go and watch my program yesterday, and I care less wherever Tinubu is. But the most important thing is, many of you wants to know whether he's dead or alive. But I don't have the proof and I don't have the evidence. Okay? So if you're waiting that Koiki will be the one to come and announce the death of Tinubu, you're wasting your bloody hell time. I know you've heard about it, just like I heard about it as well. But you need balls, that is so. You need balls, that is so, because I am a journalist and it is my right to ask, where is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Is he dead or is he alive? Alive. And we are told that he returned back. Onanuga, one of the presidential paid, because I am not paid by the president. I am just a freelance journalist. So I hope that answers your question. So asking me, have I spoken about the whereabouts of Tinubu? What concern me with his whereabouts? My only concern is people wants to know whether he's dead or alive. Wherever he is around the world is his own bloody hell problem, not my problem. It can just come and solve our own negotiation so that we can get the hell out of Nigeria. That is all. And we hope he will do that without wasting too much time. If he does that, then we will decide what next on the movement. So Tinubu, tó bá ti kú jáde kárí epo tí kú. Tó bá dẹ̀ ti kú, you will not be the first person to die. People die every day for the negligence of the shit-hole government that you're carrying on your head. You cannot defend the territorial ground of Nigeria, and many Nigerians today are dying quietly because of so many injustice that is taking place in that contraction. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI. If you're new to the platform, you can share the program and invite somebody else to come and listen and enjoy, so that they are also learning one or two things. When you say that Nigeria is going to work, let's go back to Scotland. What is pushing the Scottish people? When the X-Men ravaged my dry season farming, I lost crops. I am now hawking charger and phone accessory. Did you see that? Somebody that should be in the farm, enter ko taja. After tó bá ti gbìn kan tán, kó tà, tí ẹni pé kó harvest, kó tà síta. Then the next person does what they called export. The next person does what they called extraction, depending on what you're doing. To buy also, you can extract it and it becomes orange juice. But unfortunately, many of you, like my brother to Soro Nibe, that lives in Akure, what did any phone charger? It's not that it's a bad business. I was into electronics and I did that for over 10 years. Everything that does to do with cable, laptops, I was selling. But any to family lo fe se. But because of the insecurity and because the hypocrisy of the Yoruba people that can see the truth, that can see the evidence, but they want to blame all that on me and Igboho. Pé àwa la ló ń tọ́jà àwọn Fúlàní tí Fúlàní tó fi attack padà. And we know it's a lie. It's a bloody hell lie. Because evidence has been pointing out that prior before Igboho tó jáde, prior before I started talking, many people have died for the negligence of the insecurity that could not be provided by your governor, by the politicians, by the federal government, and that is still happening. And you can ask the Owolabi family. The Owolabi family, I'm just going back to some of my conversation. Some of you probably forgot about him, is it? Oh man, family team. How many of you remember this? My uncle. I mean, it's not immediate uncle, but we became family after he died. How many people remember him? How many people remember? If it's in the comment section. If it's in the comment section. How many people remember this man? Maybe I should bring his face closer so that you can see that this is a father, this is an uncle that was murdered by Fulani terrorists. The day he landed in Nigeria was the same day he got. Koda, what to fair so family and were involved in the kidnapping. And this communication between me and the family was 19th of July 2023. And this is what they said to me. Blessed PM, comrade, quite an age, Ekushailu. Yes, he has an hotel. You're right, he's an hotelier. He also have a farm. It was not just the only one that was kidnapped. Rachel, that was one of his staff, was kidnapped. Both of them died, plus one more person. Ẹni tó gbówó lọ, àwọn méjì, wọ́n pa kan, ìkan escape with bullet wound. And as usual, the hypocrisy of the Yoruba people are pointing that èmi àti Igboho là ń da Nigeria rú. July 28th, that means he was killed in 2022. If I'm right, yes. He died in 2022. But the family last year wanted me to remind me that July 28th we mark my brother's kidnapping without location in that location 9. As I speak to you today, no suspect has been arrested. Yes, he died in Ogbomoso. You're right. Nobody has been arrested for his death. Bishiman Sorobai. Nobody has been arrested. And they want us to just do a reminder. That was last year. Benga Owolabi. It's just that I don't have the audio that was sent as at that time. Being about audio here, you would have mental torture for a couple of days. But we are people that are very, very, we forget a lot of things quickly. So when things happen, we talk about it, blah, 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 and then we move on. This was how he was buried. His body was returned back to America to be buried. They took the body back from Nigeria back to the US in Maryland, where he's sleeping, and we pray for the wife, the children, and all the friends and family he left behind. Mr. Benga Owolabi, killed by the Fulani terrorist in 2022. It was a terrible death. This was sent as well by one of the family, September 2022. Hello, Mr. Koiki. Re Oluwagbenga David Owolabi. He was a businessman. And it will show one. He invested everything he has with the hope that he was doing the needful. He was investing not in the north. He was investing in the southwest, in Oyo State, to provide jobs and also support the economy of a zoo country called Nigeria, just like many of you. The Scottish people, as I continue to link this with the Scottish people, the same Scottish people that have business, some of them are into farming, and some of them are into all other sort of things. Do you know that they still want to exit the union? They are privileged to have what it takes to run the operation of a good business in Scotland with security, government support, government assistance, but yet the Scottish people believe that it is in the interest of the Scottish people to exit Nigeria, exit the UK and have their own independent country. But Yorùbá tí à ń jẹ, tí ìṣẹ́ tó ti mú gbogbo family ẹ̀, àti tí ìṣẹ́ ò mú, but they cannot move freely within the territory known as Nigeria without full security with them. They dare not move from point A to B. I'm talking about your elite, without proper extra security to protect them along the route. These same people are praying that we should save Nigeria so that it will prosper. But something occurred right inside Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́, according to the Owolabi's family. Oluwagbenga David Owolabi, the Yoruba businessman, he was kidnapped on July 28, 2022. If he was just kidnapped and he was asked to pay ransom and he did pay the ransom, but what then happened was that the Fulani terrorists were not just satisfied with the ransom, they also wanted his blood, and his blood was taken. He was kidnapped on July 28. He was tortured for several days. I'm sure some of you remember that is sound, that his hand has been tied. What is Sumilowo? Ejo Flomo. He was tortured for several days. Let's calculate from July 28, when he was kidnapped. 29, 30, 31, 1st of August, 2nd of August, 3rd of August. For 6 days, this Yoruba man was tortured, and he was eventually murdered in Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ on August 3rd, 2022 by Fulani terrorists. Despite sorry about that, those of you on the tweet on this. I don't know why the phone keeps sussing like that. Despite the fact that they collected 5 million naira as ransom. Gbenga Owolabi was still murdered. You know that his own mother was in the farm or wherever they kept him. But the murder of Adogon and Alhaji Fatai took place in Soka on the 1st of July 2021. This was a year before this. So Yoruba people lost in July 2021. We lost 2 innocent Yoruba men because the Fulani terrorists supported by Buhari wanted the death of Chief Sunday Igboho, that many in Yoruba lórí burúkú ẹ̀yin olóṣì that continue to criticize Igboho today because of his action against the Fulani terrorists. Some of you probably thought Igboho would be killed, and that will probably make you feel happy. Anyone that talks against Igboho, you would die quietly in your house. If otherwise, it was after 1 year tí Buhari ní kó lọ pa Igboho sílé, using the federal might, pulling out over 500 security plus machineries àti babaláwo láti wọlé lọ ní Soka kó lọ pa Igboho sílé. But because àwa la máa jàkàrà Buhari, that did not succeed. But 2 people were murdered, and their dead bodies, we don't have it as I speak to you today. Still with the federal government, nobody knows what they've done with it. But the hypocrite Yoruba people, they are happy with that. But what about this man a year after kò pariwo Yoruba nation? Is just a citizen. Remember, I told you during that discussion earlier, a nation like Nigeria, which we know is not a nation, because a nation are people that speak the same language, have the same shared value, have the same culture, and also share the same identity. Certain right and privilege to its citizens. What right did the federal government under Buhari provided to secure this our uncle, Mr. Gbenga David Owolabi, that was kidnapped on the 28th of July 2022, and 6 days after he was murdered? Also Rachel Okwadokun +1, after 5 million naira ransom was paid. The US government took custody of his remains. This is what the family sent to me in September 2022. Now, another government, look at the difference between the one that is meant to be his government, because his government is meant to provide security for him to be able to do the enabling business. And even if he was kidnapped, it was meant to be the responsibility of the government to find how they can locate him, because remember that the family was speaking with this criminal terrorist over the phone. Technology is there to pinpoint Ibi by Lowa, and sent the special squad trained by the Nigerian government to rescue him. But the Nigerian government doesn't care about the citizens. But it is the same crazy citizens that are still saying we are one Nigeria. We are one Nigeria, that believe in Nigeria. But your government doesn't believe that there's anything called one Nigeria. If not, Mr. Gbenga Owolabi is not that old, because even àwọn olè, àwọn bàbá òfò tó yẹ kó ti kú, they are still moving from point A to B. You know them. They are Afe Babalola olórí burúkú, bàbá òfò tó ní ṣàǹfààní. The Obasanjos, the Bode George, the Afenifebis, and all those crazy elders that are still telling us, let's save Nigeria. Tó yẹ pé they are almost getting into their graves. This man will be alive. This my uncle, Mr. Gbenga Owolabi, that was murdered by the Fulani terrorists after 6 days of torture. Then another government that value the citizens. Another government that knows the importance of citizenship. Why do you think that many people today are fighting to get the citizenship of America, the citizenship of Canada, the citizenship of Australia, France, Belgium, Denmark, Spain, Italy, Austria, America, and many countries around the world? Why do you think that Nigerians today are fighting to secure the citizenship of those countries? Either through by marriage, either through by skill, job skills, either through whatever means you can secure that citizenship. Because what makes you a citizen of that country? Citizenship is a status that identifies a person's former membership of a state, entailing them to hold the country's passport. The measures nationality and citizenship are often to use interchangeable. Kí lẹ rò pé àwọn èèyàn ṣe ń jà fatifati pé kọ́dọ̀ ń jẹ́ kí èmi náà rí British passport gbà? Tó bá wá gba British passport tán, ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú, ẹ̀yin àti wa máa ń sọ fún àwa tí à ń pariwo Yorùbá nation pé ká shut up. Torí wọ́n ti rí British passport gbà, o ti rí American passport gbà, o ti rí Canadian passport gbà, o ti ní alternative, o ti ní alternative láti lo Nigerian passport lọ sí Nigeria. Torí pé citizenship Nigeria ṣì nìyẹn, you are a dual citizenship. But ó mọ̀ pé tó bá ń padà bọ̀, ó ní the visa. Wàá wá yọ blue British passport ẹ tó bá dé immigration and custom. Wàá wá máa wò báyìí. Ẹ fún wa ní kankan, wàá wá máa sọ òyìnbó fò. Bí mo fún yín ní kankan, ìlú yín tó dá yìí, bó tó bá bá padà dé London, ìwọ ló ṣe ń sọ fáwọn tó wà nílé pé kó save Nigeria, torí pé aláìda èèyàn nìyẹn, olórí burúkú nìyẹn. Kó tó bá ṣe olórí burúkú ni Nigeria yẹn mọ̀ pé kò dáa, but torí pé wọ́n ti láǹfààní àti gba citizenship mi tó wọ́n ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́, àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ gbádùn, ó wà okay, ó ní problem. Tó bá ti kọjá yẹ, cut your coat according to your size. Tó bá lè ṣe shopping nínú Marks and Spencer, máa lọ ṣe nínú Lidl àti Asda. Tó bá lówó Tesco, máa lọ sínú Tesco. But olófò lórí burúkú yín tẹ́ wà labroad, ẹ̀yin olùlòṣì tẹ́ ẹ̀ ní ṣoríire tó yẹ pé ogun máa wọlé pa gbogbo ilé yẹn kọ̀ọ̀kan ni ẹ̀yin á wá mú pásítọ̀tì British yẹn àti ti Amẹ́ríkà àti Canada yẹn ẹ̀ mú yẹn sábẹ́ aṣọ tẹ́ bá ń travel ẹ̀ lò ti Nàìjíríà lọ tẹ́ bá wá ń bọ̀ àwọn custom and immigration wọ́n wá máa ní ẹ fún wa nìkan ẹ mọ̀ fún yín nìkankan mọ̀ fún yín nìkankan mọ̀ fún yín nìkankan ẹ bá mi gbẹ́rù mi o ẹ gbẹ́rù mi o tẹ́ ẹ bá gbé gbogbo ẹrù mi màá dín ẹ wá máa sọ òyìnbó òfò òyìnbó òyà ẹ wá débí bá ẹ wá máa sọ fáwọn tó wà nílé pé Nàìjíríà yẹn aláìdáni yín but èyí tó yẹ kẹ́ support ilé ìtagbé dání nísìn kí gbogbo wa lè jọ ní the same value citizenship nílùú tó ń pè ní Yorùbá nation ẹni ẹ̀fẹ́ yẹn ẹni yẹn ọ̀dà ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń sọ̀pọ́tì APC láti London ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń sọ̀pọ́tì Peter Obi láti UK ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń dáwó fún wọn ẹ̀yin lẹ́ ń sọ̀pọ́tì Àtíkù látara ìtẹ́fẹ́ jẹ ẹ̀yin ò rọjò ọ̀la mo wá ń bẹ Ọlọ́run pé Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí ti yín rí bí ti brọ́dà mi torí pé brọ́dà mi náà kò mú kó kú òun náà lọ ń ṣòwò ní Nàìjíríà torí wọ́n sọ pé owó Nàìjíríà o lè make owó lórí ẹ̀ oh yes the number is big we have the population tó bá mọ tó lè ta wàá máa make owó but one day torí in tó ń tà yẹn máa ta dáadáa kó rówó kó tètè invest owó yẹn síta o ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú mo post sórí timeline ni bàtí máa fi jí láàárọ̀ yìí àwọn olòṣì wọ́n lè mí ní wáì tí mò ń advice àwọn èèyàn kọ́ ṣẹ́ náírà sí dọ́là kò ní dá fún bàbá tó bí yín ẹ̀ ní ṣòwìrì ṣé mi ni mo dá pọ́blẹ́mù Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ àwọn tó dá pọ́blẹ́mù Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ wọ́n ń jí owó yín Yàyà Bello mú owó ó jù sí American school ó lè àwọn gbà ó lè gbé ó lè gbà nígbà tí ilẹ̀ bá mọ́ tán American school wá ní ká má bínú pé àwọn ò mọ̀ pé ó jí owó yẹn nínú government coffers ni ó fi dọ́là ó fi sanwó school èmi wá advice wọn náà pé tó bá ní náírà lọ́wọ́ ṣẹ́ díẹ̀ sí dọ́là torí bí nǹkan ṣe ń lọ yìí ó máa le ju bí ẹ ṣe ń rò lọ kàkà bẹ́ẹ̀ ẹ wá sórí comment section náà ẹ lẹ́nu gbà ọ́ ẹ̀ǹkan ìbò fò pé mi ò nífẹ̀ẹ́ Nàìjíríà pé mi ò kì í nífẹ̀ẹ́ Nàìjíríà ẹni tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ Nàìjíríà tó wá sí Nàìjíríà ní 2022 tó wá ṣe investment ní 2022 ẹ̀mẹ́mí ẹ̀ sọ ní kúkúrú ẹ sọ ìyàwó ẹ̀ dẹni tó lọ́kọ mọ́ bóun àtẹ bá bẹ̀ ń jà wàá sì sọ pé kọ́ má kú bíyàn bá ń jà kò ń ṣe pé bí ká kú ó wá lọ Nàìjíríà ó lọ ṣòwò ni ó gbé owó láti Amẹ́ríkà kò ń ṣe pé báńkì Nàìjíríà ló yá lówó tó fi ń ṣòwò àwọn owó tó tù jọ lórí mọ́gẹ́jì lé ní bí ó yá lónìí ni púpọ̀ nú ẹ̀yin tẹ́tí yá owó báyìí tẹ́tí lọ fi ṣòwò Nàìjíríà ẹ̀ ń san gbèsè yẹn lábúròdì báyìí with the hope pé ẹ fi sáré make returns ẹ ti yá loan ẹ ti lo credit card ẹ ti lo mastercard ẹ ti kódà ẹ ti di gbèsè sí UK látara pé ẹ fi lọ invest ní Nàìjíríà because we thought we are citizens of that crazy country. Àmọ́ pé a kì í ṣe citizen, we are just a number. You thought you are a citizen. Torí pé Pastor Adébóyè ń gbàdúrà fún ẹ pé you are a citizen. Citizen ò kì í wà against the government. Ìbí nǹkan tó ń sọ fún yín ní chọ́ọ̀chì nìyẹn àti ní mọ́ṣáláṣí. Tó bá ń ṣe wàásù èèyàn kì í bá gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì jà ó ní brọ́dà mi kan tó sọ fún mi bẹ́ẹ̀ ó ní Koiki ẹ lè bá gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì jà kẹ́ win mo ní no problem ẹnu ní gbogbo àjọ wa but in tó máa bá gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì jà òun lẹ ti ń rí yẹn fuel crisis, insecurity, no welfare, no education. Ẹ kọ́ máa lament tó bá yá ẹ bọ́ síta ẹ béèrè ẹ̀tọ́ yín lọ́wọ́ ìjọba ẹ̀yin olóṣìṣẹ́ ní ṣòríire. Ẹ̀tọ́ yín tẹ́ ẹ fi béèrè lọ́wọ́ gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì yẹn ẹ lọ béèrè lọ́wọ́ wọn pé kí la ṣe fún yín tẹ́ ń fìyà jẹ wá tó tó yìí, kí la rà nígbà yín. But kàkà bẹ́ẹ̀ èmi àti Ìgbòho lẹ wá ń kẹnu sí pé àwa la fẹ́ da Nàìjíríà rú, kò ní da fún bàbá ẹ̀. Tó bá dẹ̀ sọ pé kí n má ṣe pé òní kò ní sórí ìwọ náà ogun máa wọlé pa ẹ̀ ni. Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni mo sọ, torí pé ìyà tó ń jẹ àwọn Yorùbá káàkiri gbogbo àgbáyé, tó bá jẹ́ pé irú ìyà yẹn wọ́n gbé sórí ẹ̀ wàá máa gbàdúrà pé ká tètè rọ́nà lọ. Àdúrà tó bá máa gbà nìyẹn. Ò ní máa sọ pé Koiki mo láìkì program ẹ̀ àmọ́ bó ṣe máa ń ṣépè yẹn ni mo láì, mo ní kò ní dá fún bàbá tó bí wọn náà, ò ní ṣoríire. Let's come back here at 18 minutes past 5. Nígbà tí Amẹ́ríkà wa gbọ́ pé, because brother wa yìí náà ti lọ Amẹ́ríkà ó ti tójọ́ mẹ́ta, bẹ́ẹ̀ni àti ẹ̀ náà ṣe sá lọ. Má jẹ́ kíyàn kankan fúnlẹ̀ pé mo lọ on tourism, mo lọ ka èrò ó japa ni. Gbogbo àwọn àǹtí ẹ̀ tán parọ́ fún ẹ pé mo wà labroad, mo kàn fi sọ ó japa ni, everybody ń japa ni. Tó bá lè japa títí tá a máa fi rọ́nà lọ. Òun náà ní American passport bá ṣe gbọ́. Nígbà tá Amẹ́ríkà wá gbọ́ pé wọ́n pa ìkànnì àwọn ọmọ wọn sí Nàìjíríà, ó wá dùn wọ́n pé bá ti tètè sọ fún wa pé ó wà in the captivity of the Fulani. Wàláì tàláì sọmọbìláì làzìlà hùwà. Tó bá jẹ́ pé àwọn family tètè inform Amẹ́ríkà, èyí tó fi ń inform Nigerian government government àdánù, government tó rí taráàlú, government tó ní taráàlú tó fẹ́ support. Tó bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n tètè sọ fún American government pé family wa kan wọ́n ti gbé, ó wà lọ́wọ́ àwọn terrorists, I can assure you that American government will prepare a team of 6. Wọ́n ní jẹ́ kó pọ̀ púpọ̀ 6. Tó ń pè ní àwọn special squad. They've done it before. Wọ́n ti ṣe rí. They will rescue this man out of the bondage without even Nigerian government knowing. But since the family probably did not in time inform the American government, but what the American government now did was, for the fact that they sọ fáwọn, but is a citizen of the country, and the love táwọn ní sí citizen, not the you think Tinubu loves you, idiot all over the place. He loves you. Òun sá lọ gba treatment ní France. Àwọn kan ní wọ́n ti gún lábẹ́rẹ́ ni, àwọn kan náà poison ẹ̀ ni, àwọn kan ló ti kú, àwọn kan ní kò kú. It's just a normal routine medical check. Eventually, wọ́n ṣàtìmọ́ máa return sí Nàìjíríà lẹ́ni. We will be monitoring that. American government now got involved in this case because the case, I followed it, and the family gave me access to a lot of information. Some I will share, some I will not. But what I can tell you is that the US government, after the family informed the American government that one of their citizens was murdered by Fulani terrorists in Nigeria, the police wanted to change the story. One family yẹn ló mọ̀ nípa ẹ̀, àwọn ló kidnap ẹ̀gbọ́n wọn fún ransom, but we know it's a lie. The US government took custody of his remains from the Lautech Teaching Hospital following an autopsy procedure in the presence Look at this. This is what I say, that there is difference between citizenship. Because if you are a citizen of Nigeria, you are as well as no citizen. You are on your own. You are not on your own. Who's providing everything for you? Hypocrite people. Denial. They know the truth, but they are always denying. It's just the leadership. When we have good system, everything will work. That is what you have been saying. Oti dagba, gbogbo ọgbọ́n ìyà ti jẹ pa. Wọ́n ti fìyà jẹ yín, ẹ wá ti kó gbogbo ẹ̀ sórí prayer pé nígbà tí ìyà kúkú ń jẹ wá, kí prayer yẹn kó resolve problem wa. Ṣé prayer ni wọ́n fi run operation ìlú yìí? Ṣé ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà l'Amẹ́ríkà tẹ́ ní kẹ̀kẹ́ ipò Nàìjíríà, ẹ̀yin bàbá òfò, ẹ̀yin ìyá òfò? Ṣé prayer ló fi ń run America? Ṣé prayer ló fi ń run Australia? Ṣé prayer ló fi ń run ní Canada tẹ́ ń gbé yẹn, ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú tẹ́ ní ṣoríire? Ṣé prayer ló fi ń run nílùú tó ń gbé? Tẹ́ wá ní ká máa fi prayer ká máa fi run ní Nàìjíríà. Ṣé prayer ló máa ṣe títì dé iwájú ilé mi? Àwa la ní the biggest bitumen in the world. Kí lẹ fi ṣe? Gbogbo epo tó ń jí ní Ondo State, wọ́n ní for decades wọ́n kàn ń wọ epo. Àwa la ní góòlù. Àwọn ìyá kan tó ṣe wà tẹ́kọ̀ lọ Dubai àlọ́ra góòlù. Àwa la ní góòlù. Ó yẹ ká ní manufacturing processing system tó yẹ pé tí wọn náà máa lọ sọ́ṣun state tá a máa dàbí ìgbà tó wà ní Dubai níbi tó ti máa ń ta àwọn ọmọ ìwé ní ti dé Dubai rí, tó bá dé bẹ́ẹ̀ rí wà á rí góòlù rẹpẹtẹ. Tó bá bíbà bẹ́ẹ̀ dá lọ jí wá fìbọn forí ẹ̀ wá pa sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Tó yẹ káwa náà ní góòlù tá a máa rìn káàkiri tí máa tàn tó bá dálẹ̀ tó bá dá òun bẹ̀yẹn ní Dubai á dàbí ìgbà tó yẹ pé ó wà ní heaven. A máa rí góòlù oríṣiríṣi. Akọ máa wọ̀n lójú ni tó bá jí. Àwọn kan tí a tẹ́ǹtẹ̀ rí wá yìnbọn pa ẹ̀ ni. Ní Ọ̀ṣun state, olórí burúkú Sanwó-Olú olóṣèlú, ṣé gọ́vnà làwọn yẹn, ó wá ń deport ọmọ Yorùbá láti Lagos, ó gbé wọn padà lọ sọ́ṣun. Adeleke wá ń sọ fún pé Sanwó-Olú olórí burúkú nìyẹn, olóṣì. Ṣèbójoojúmọ́ ni mo wá ń jó lẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí mo wá sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ tí mo wá náwó ní Lagos state. Because when those governors move, you can imagine how many entourage ló ń kó káàkiri. Ó wá ń bí Sanwó-Olú, your Lagos state governor, àwọn àbí kí n máa bù kò ní dá fún bàbá ẹ̀ tó bá ní kí n máa bù Sanwó-Olú, ẹ̀ ò ní ṣoríire. How can he be deporting Yoruba people? Láì ṣe tó bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ Igbo ló deport àmà ní Igbo, à ń bọ̀sibọ̀si, we are still Nigerians. Kí ló ń deport èèyàn fún? Ẹni tó bá jẹ́ criminal láàrin wọn, lock them up, ẹ fi wọn sínú prison kó máa gbé níbẹ̀. Yorùbá tó bá jí nǹkan tó bá commit crime, ẹ ṣe proper due process. Kò ń ṣe pé kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ jù sí prison kẹ́ má ṣe kéèsì ẹ̀ kẹ́ wá máa ṣe kéèsì ṣúkúṣúkú FFK, kéèsì ṣúkúṣúkú Yàyà Bello, kéèsì ṣúkúṣúkú àwọn olè tó jí owó ńláńláńláńlá tó jẹ́ kó wà ní prison tó ṣe sùn nínú air condition. Ó wá deport àwọn Yorùbá, dá wọn padà sọ́ṣun. Tó bá jẹ́ pé Ọ̀ṣun ti ní orí tó pé tó jẹ́ ká gba Yorùbá nation, tá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí lo góòlù wa, tá ń divert ẹ̀, tá ń process ẹ̀, táwọn èèyàn wá sí Ọ̀ṣun state, tí plane land, tá ń ṣọlidé, tí tourism gbogbo ẹ̀ ń lọ bí ìwọ náà ṣe lọ ń ṣe tourism ní Cyprus. Cyprus ò ní jack shit, tourism lọ fi ń gbére, wọn ò ní kàkà. Èmi ò dé bẹ́ẹ̀rì, but àwọn tó lọ sọ fún mi pé tourism ni wọ́n fi ń gbére. Ṣé o mọ̀ pé wọ́n tó ń jẹ́ ọmọ Ọ̀ṣun ò ní nìkankan lọ ṣe ní Lagos? Torí olórí burúkú ni wọ́n. Gbogbo Lagos ní Tinubu ti kó lé àwọn Ṣàgórì lọ́wọ́. Ìbí mo sọ fún yín pé olè ní Ṣèyí Tinubu, ẹ̀bẹ̀ sọ pé kí n gbẹ́nu dákẹ́. Ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀fọ̀, ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀ràn kírun, ẹ̀yin tí a máa jẹ pa ká tó débi tá à ń lọ. Ẹ jẹ ṣé géèyà, ẹ máa tọrọ owó náà ní lórí social media. Ẹni bá fún yín wọ́n á máa bá yín raise owó ẹni tó bá sick kọ́lọ́ bá wa kẹ́ bàbá Àgbàlá Gabriel. Mo jí láàárọ̀ yìí àdánwò ní fídíò tí mo rí lórí péjì bàbá yẹn. I'm sure some of you have seen it as well. Ẹ lọ sórí péjì. Brọ́dà yẹn tẹ bá rí gẹ̀gẹ̀ tó wà lábẹ́ apá ẹ̀, ọmọ Yorùbá ni ó, tẹ bá rí ní tó gbé sápá láì mo tẹ kọ́kọ́ rò pé bí ó ń jẹ̀ṣẹ́ ni. I don't know how I stumbled onto that video. Àdánwò fídíò ni. If you haven't seen it, go to Àgbàlá Gabriel page and go and look at it. Bóyá cancer ni, who knows? And that is the country you want us to remain, so that can now also social media. Ẹ bá wa dáwọ́ ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yorùbá tẹ́ wà labroad. Ọlọ́run á máa fún yín ṣe. Àmọ́ pé ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣe labroad, àmọ́ arákùnrin yìí nídìí ìrànlọ́wọ́ o. Ó nídìí support wa. That is exactly what they want us to be doing. And arákùnrin yẹn dẹ̀ pé rẹ̀ ní citizen of Nigeria. Ṣé rí pé what is the essence of that citizenship? It's not value. Go to Àgbàlá Gabriel's page, you will see there. Ogato into alabe apá ẹ̀. When I first saw it, mo rò pé ó jẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ni. Pé bí àwọn tó máa ń gbé weight, gbàtí mo wá rí dáadáa. Eléyìí ò gbé weight o. Sickness. I pray they will have enough money to give him the full medical he needs. God bless UK. Even pẹ̀lú crime wọn tó ti ṣe across the world and the continent. Ẹni kan ló mọ̀ nílùú. Some of you know what I'm talking about. If you live in UK or probably some other countries that are civilized, the amount of money that are spent to look after people so that kíkó má bàa pa wọ́n, you will be shocked, especially if their needs request or require them to be taken care of round the clock. There are some hospitals in this country that spend sometimes close to £1 million on one person just to keep them alive, because nobody is meant to die, but not in the shithole zoological country that some of you still believe is worth dying for. But some of you believe that it is worth dying for Nigeria as a citizen. So, Mr. Gbenga Olabi, to wrap it up, the American government did not just took over his body with Omawani. Since the family have come and request our assistance, the American government immediately authorized people to go with the family. And I believe some were even sent from America to represent the family. They took over the remains of Mr. Gbenga Olabi from Lautech Teaching Hospital with the presence of several US pathology observers, an insurance of death certificate, and the family told me then, last September 2022, that Mr. Koiki, we can confirm that Mr. Owolabi's body is on his way to Delaware. That is what they call a government. That is what a true government should do. But most of you at home today, you will never see the presence of a government around you, should we remain and keep this zoological country you call Nigeria. You will never. Oh, ba ma bawe, ko badura. Oh, you read the presence of the government. nígbà tó bá ní the government ò ní rí wọn because olórí burúkú ní government. They are not there to represent you. They are there to represent themselves and their cronies. And that is why Seyi Tinubu, we are told, is a member on the board of a contract given to the Shagoris to build the coastal rail or the road project, which will never be completed. Because from it, what I'm being told or hearing is that the whole idea of it is just that the Shagoris have been able to secure a permanent America embassy in Leko. Can't remember the name of that particular location in Lagos State. And I'm Davido not Tilora flat to consider something. One of those big new development. A lot of you don't know what it means to be a citizen. I want to know about when a citizen is those that carry a different passport. Carry passport in it, right? But most of you that carry such passport, you know what I'm talking about. You know the feelings in your heart, because traveling with that passport is like, what the hell? What be baba wada? But the British passport, even travel here. Travel with a Nigerian passport and go through Ethiopia or all these crazy African countries. The way they will maltreat you for the fact that you have a passport of Nigeria, because that citizenship is not valued to the world. But you are always told that Nigeria is and this program comes to an end in just 20 minutes. But you are always told that Nigeria is going to be great. But nobody is telling you when it's going to be great. But we've been hearing that for the last 63 years. That is how Mr. Gbenga Olabi's body was returned back to Delaware, and a full burial proceeding took place. And I appreciate the family, the wife, the children, for carrying me along during that very difficult time of the death of Mr. Gbenga Olabi, that was murdered by the Fulani terrorists after 5 million ransom was paid. He was eventually murdered on the 3rd of August 2022 by Fulani terrorists. Let's move swiftly. There's one video I just want to play that I picked up from Arise before we go. Many of you, we have told you that Nigeria does not have what it takes to provide the dollar. I know we're not spending dollar in Nigeria, but you need dollar for the importation of everything. Then whatever you think you are using, you cannot use the shit old naira to go and buy it. You will need a dollar. So when people say, but Koiki, cannot dollar Nigeria, I understand. I cannot dollar Nigeria. I cannot dollar Nigeria lotto. Moki bobo in yami, then bobo in my appreciate kintola. For many time, can Fisari she the last analysis here. This is what the guy said. If Nigeria can attract $10 billion by the year end, I would have to bet against the Naira. Obichukwu is the founder and the chief analyst of Naira Metrics. Ugo Dre Obichukwu says, if Nigeria cannot attract $5 billion by June, which is just next month, or 10 billion by June next month, he would have to bet against the Naira. What he's just trying to explain there is that Tinubu told us at the beginning of the year that I want to read 3 billion Komowa. If you believe that, you are on your own. As we speak right now, I read 3 billion here in terms of investment that is coming into the country. Ṣé rántí pé mo sọ fún yín last week pé Latvia 1.8 million people ní 2022, their exports in tán tà síta láti ìlú wọn tó ń ṣe nǹkan ẹyọ kan ló ń tà, multiple different things from medical to this to that. Ẹ rántí kódà mo ní Nàìjíríà gan ra wheat lọ́wọ́ wọn. How many people remember the figure I gave you that they were making as their export in 2022? If you're really following this our lecture, or if you don't remember, I will remind you. They made about 20 billion US dollars in 2022 as part of their export. Part of what gave them that 20 billion was 5.6% in agriculture. Àwọn tó ń ṣe agric lẹ́nu nísìn wọ́n ti dẹni tó lọ ń ta cable àti wire, charger, phone charger. Somebody from Akure just told us that òun ò lè lọ sóko mọ́ látara iṣẹ́ ibi táwọn Fúlàní ń ṣe. Àwọn ò lè máa lọ fara oko. But most of our farmers are not using mechanized farming. When the world is moving into set up the system, abẹ́ṣe irrigation, abẹ́ṣe this, abẹ́ṣe that, with mechanized farming. But our the stage a ṣì wà nínú ayé olden days. Kíyàn wá ṣe wàhálà yẹn kó lórí burúkú Fúlàní kan wá kó ẹran dé. Eventually, you will give up and try to find another source and means to survive. It shows that you are not a citizen. You will look force as a citizen. I am a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless Nigeria. Mad people over the place. Let's just listen to what this guy has to say.
Over the last 10 years. The CBN governor kind of captured it at the spring meeting when he said you're going to see volatility. I mean, it's essentially free market. There's no fixed exchange rate anymore, so you're never going to see the Naira, like stable, fixed. So you're going to see all this volatility for a while, for a bit. The turnover you're seeing here, maybe it's a blip, because it's kind of unusual for that sort of low number this period. But I think for me, Roots, is what I always say is look at how we're able to attract Forex. If we can attract $10 billion in FX this year, I would have to bet against Naira. There's just no two ways about it. In fact, if you can attract $5 billion between now and mid-year, June, I gotta bet against Naira because it's going to be difficult to think that the currency will be stable because you don't expect the central bank to burn through reserves to try and defend that currency. And so what we should be asking those in government, particularly the Ministry of Finance, is how are you going to attract capital? What are you doing through your agencies? Yeah, that's what we need. So all this you're junketing around the world, it's going to be 1 year in May 29. Yeah. It's going to be 1 year. So how much have you brought in? right? FDIs over the last 10 years was not even up to $10 billion. Wow. For the last 10 years. So we can't continue that way. I'm not even talking about FBI now. Yeah. So for me, all these pains we're going through, high interest rates, just so that we can see, exchange rate stable.
Let me just quickly explain the big grammar also. Level tiwa. What this guy is just saying is that FDI, direct foreign investment, foreign direct investment, FDI. A foreign direct investment refers to purchase of an asset in another country such that it gives direct control to the purchase over the asset. Every day we are hearing that companies are moving out of Nigeria. But Tinubu is saying that, don't worry, I am doing everything to bring foreign direct investment back to Nigeria. Oh, my shit. The question is, how? On Olumba. You see the lies of government. That is why I said we are not citizens of Nigeria. We are just numbers used to borrow from the IMF, the World Bank, the Suku, the Nema Bank from China, and then our resources from Osun State, from Niger Delta, from Rivers, from Benue, from every part, are then given back to them for the loans that they've taken. So what this guy is saying is that government, magba investment was in Nigeria, because without investment, how do you propel your economy? Nigerian economy is not an industrialized economy. Ẹ̀rí àgbàdo láti convert sí ògì náà. Torí ẹ̀rí náà tẹ́fẹ́ fi lọ àgbàdo yẹn tó máa fi di ògì. Because ẹ need iná. You need a constant electricity. Ẹ lè ṣe poultry nítorí pé poultry need iná 24/7. Gbogbo èyí tẹ́ ń ṣe fish farming, ẹ rówó láti ra oúnjẹ ẹja yẹn torí pé a produce ẹ nínú Nàìjíríà, wọ́n kó wọlé ni. Wheat, a lọ ra wheat lọ́wọ́ Latvia population ò tó Àlímọ̀ṣọ́ local government. Àlímọ̀ṣọ́ is 3 million. Latvia is 1.8 million. Ó wá ń gbàdúrà fọlọ́ pé kọ́lọ̀ jẹ́ orí tí ẹ ṣe ní Nàìjíríà, ẹ máa jẹra yín lẹ́sẹ̀ pa mi. Ẹ máa jẹra yín lójoojúmọ́. Ẹni máa kú, ẹni máa yé òun lọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀. That is why there's blood all over in Nigeria. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ á máa sùn ni. Because there is not anything that is working. That is why Ogun State is one of the most ritualist states in the whole of Nigeria. Olórí burúkú. Tàbá sọ̀rọ̀ Fúlàní, ritualist ló pọ̀ jù nù yín. Má fọmọ obìnrin mọ́ra. Wá fi ṣẹ́ṣó, wá yọ gbogbo ara ẹ̀, wá náwọn fẹ́ fi ṣògùn owó. Nàìjíríà láti rí ọmọ tó gé pọ́nrọ̀ bàbá ẹ̀ tó náà fi ṣògùn owó. Ogun State, shut up, ọmọ Ogun State ni mi. Koiki Ogun State lọ, shut up, shut up, man. Lè dá fún ẹ. Ritualist ló pọ̀ nù yín. Gbogbo àwọn àfáà yín ritualist, àwọn pastor ritualist, àwọn imam ritualist, babaláwo ritualist. Àwọn ọmọ ọlọ́mọ lè fi ń gúnṣẹ́, lè fi dolówó. That's why when people die in Nigeria, I don't say rest in peace because mo mọ nǹkan tó ṣe. Ẹ ti tọwọ́ bọ oríṣiríṣi. Tó bá wá di jọ́ Sunday ẹ lọ máa náwó ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì, bá di Friday ẹ lọ máa ṣàṣàlátù, bá di Sunday owó ẹ̀jẹ̀ ní púpọ̀ nù yín náà tẹ́ mọ̀. Owó drugs ìyẹn kún bẹ́ẹ̀ rẹpẹtẹ, drug money. ṣẹ̀rí kọ̀ńténà kan tọ́nà fi ń gbé drug lọ wọn ló ti kọjá different border kó tó intercept ẹ̀ pé hey park mọ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn wetin dey inside this gas container nígbà tó bá ṣì lọ́ bá rí àwọn igbó ńláńlá cocaine nínú ẹ̀ tìbí wọn náà mẹ́rin tó ń ṣe ládùúgbò ẹ̀ ṣé o mẹ́rin tó mọ bàbá yẹn tó ń wé igbó ládùúgbò ó ṣáà mọ̀ torí wọn náà rí tí ẹ gbà níbẹ̀ bó ṣe ń fún ẹ nígbó ló ń fún ẹ lọ́mọ bá sùn born bastard ìlú òfò sọ èyí náà láìkì bó ṣe wà diaspora náà tó bá lọlé gbogbo tó ò lè ṣe labroad ló máa ń ṣe tó bá délé so we all love the way the system is one way or the other so we don't want it to be perfect so tá a bá wá ń pariwo Yorùbá nation ìwọ wá expect pé Tinubu máa rí Nàìjíríà ṣe lórí fraudulent constitution níbo làwọn tó máa fẹ́ gbowó wá sínú Nàìjíríà knowing fully well pé gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì yín ò stable tí Tinubu bá lọ tán nísìn another government àtúndé àdá gbogbo ẹ̀. I remember one day I was at the Nigerian High Commission and I ṣe oríṣiríṣi event wọ́n ṣe business summit unicorn summit I call or record I take a picture I jẹun I ya photo I gbé sórí social media bàbá máa dúró pé after 6 months event tó ṣe yẹn a máa ní impact ní local government ọ̀nà tí lọ ṣe irọ́ ló wà ń bẹ̀ is a lie fraud ní gbogbo ẹ̀ I can tell you that ẹni kí gbogbo diaspora gbogbo event ọ̀nà ṣe ní UK ẹni kan fún ní evidence reported ní Nàìjíríà èwo ló ṣiṣẹ́ there was a particular one that I listened to òyìnbó yẹn wọ́n ti bá project yẹn dé it was in somewhere in Southeast I can't remember which of the states the guy was bitter only we've done the project up to probably 70 or 80% just to few more percentage to complete it and there was a change of government in the state and the new administration says òun ò ní kankan ṣe pẹ̀lú project yẹn tó bá fẹ́ gbé gbogbo building yẹn kó máa gbé lọ sí abroad àwọn ò ní san £1 pé because the previous governor yẹn ó lè ní òyìnbó yẹn náà ò rí wẹ́rì láyé òun he says he will never return back to Nigeria. How can they do a project up to 80% and the new administration is not interested? And not this project is meant to be for the citizen. Money kì í ṣe citizen. You will don't force her as a citizen. I am a citizen of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Which citizen? Born bastard. Let's just listen to the last part. Tisalo. So Tinubu, we hope that you will bring $10 billion into the Nigerian market because we need that money to make the economy to stabilize because we are praying to Jesus Christ and we are praying 5 times daily to Anabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That is the life we are waiting for. That Tinubu has the magic wand. Hey, Omoludo there, you don't fix Lagos, he's coming to fix Nigeria. Koiki, shut up. We know you hate Tinubu so much. We know you don't like anything about Tinubu. Really. Let's just hope he's not dead, he's alive. That's the first thing. Because all this one way with the years say Tinubu don't buy. We hope he return back to Nigeria tomorrow. If he doesn't return back to Nigeria tomorrow, that is the beginning of the red flag for me. Because they've already told Nigerians that Tinubu return back tomorrow, which is today. So I am looking forward to seeing his video. Then I know he's alive. Remember Shehu Yaradua, Obasanjo say, are you dead or you are alive? Shehu Shoti Kwabo she was alive. Then Shehu Yaradua was already dead. And they were pretending that he was alive because of Jonathan Kuje. And like I said, we should not pray for the death of Tinubu because Shetima becomes your president or dead. better for us to be seeing a Yoruba man there. Yoruba than to go and be seeing Shetima. The last thing I want to be seeing is the face of Shetima. Olori Buruku terrorist man. I pity a lot of you. That is how far I can take you this morning. It's not my problem. Let me appreciate many of you because we're just 3 minutes away to the end of the program. Let me first start with the Facebook. Mr. James Olajide, good morning. Thank you so much. Jimon Moses, good morning. Watching me from South Africa, Mr. Oyekami Julius Fakbonda Mofipeledu Marikinyi. Mokiyami Abiodun Samuel. Oh, the only solution is to exit Nigeria. My brother, this is calamity, is too much. I hardly hear from you, sir. Please, can you more audible? Be at airport, then low, be at peace. Because I know most of you in Nigeria, it's not your fault, it's just the network. Jimon Erazak, thank you so much. Shetima. If Tinubu buy, Shetima become your president. That is the constitution. So you better pray that Tinubu doesn't buy. Because the Igbos are already saying Tinubu don't buy. You will not Igbo now. Don't come and pretend to me as if we till the video. You better send this in me. Koiki, have you seen this video? They say Tinubu has died. How do I know? Am I part of his cabinet? Mr. Oyekami Julia Fakponda said, I hear inside one newspaper say Tinubu is back to Nigeria. No, they said he will be back today. He's not yet back. Akim Ayodele, thank you so much. Jim Razak, Olamile Konpe Ojaudo. Thank you so much, Mr. Ahmed Jamil. Hello, my brother. Have they found President Tinubu is still lost in the mission? Nobody knows where Tinubu is, but we know that the presidential jet is hibernating in Paris, ready to fly out. Mokiyami Esther Adepeju. Otito ni yo ma bori Benny. Otito lo ma bori. We will get there. Only you people are the cause of the problem. Only Shoriri Jeff Arigo. Gbogbo to bá ń rìn wá àti wọ bàbẹ́ àti yẹ wọ ní Shoriri. Bomb bastard. Only kúrè. How am I the problem? Ṣé mi mú that problem Nigeria sílẹ̀? Olùṣòlórí burúkú Mali. Bomb bastard. Mokia easy, brother me in Miami. Again, I appreciate that you took on because I am just 1 minute to leave this broadcast and go back and lie down with my wife. Yeah, I appreciate that. Mokia me a bossede. Yawa great solution to Moki Adada. I'm almost ending the program. Rahim Abbas, Mokia. Ben Jack Ude. Thank you, my brother. Mokia Ben the Light. Mokia Edo. Pastor Mo Moki Adetoro. Oyadei Mokinyi, please make sure you continue to pay your dues right inside the Yoruba Central account known as the YSDM. Moki Mr. David Adego Keita on Instagram. I will not come back again. Thank you so much, every one of you. Bye for now. Mr. Pella, thank you so much, and the rest of you. Mr. David Peter Pan is one of our subscribers and also a good supporter. In the white man's world, in the white man's language. I love your program. Thank you so much. I love your program, but stop cussing. Yaya Beloji $720,000. Moki Buga America, I lost 12 midnight. Arole Odudua, only what do you expect when they call a state Ogun State? Wamashi Oguni, ritualist country Ogun State. You gotta be very careful. Ẹ jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn gidi lórí bíbá ẹ̀. Bàbá mi Àwòyẹmí ni àwọn wò mí láti ìlú Èkìtì, mo kí ẹ̀yin ará Èkìtì. Bọ́ mo kí Afẹ́ Babalọ́lá olórí burúkú bàbá àgbàlagbà ni Ògún ló máa wọlé pa níjọ́ kan. Ọláníyì mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin bàbá tí ẹ̀ ń bẹ lẹ́kìtì. Adeniyi Adejubre Moki, ìyá mi Ọmọlára Ìyábọ̀ Àjàlá, àwọn Koikimedia backup team nìyẹn. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Adébáyọ̀ Kìkíọ́lá Emmanuel, àwọn ní mad people all over the place. Moki in Italy. Agbọ́mọ̀ Ṣẹ́gun Moki Ayuba kò ń ṣe ètò nǹkanrin. Moki gbogbo ilé ẹ̀kan sí mo ní láti lọ nísìn láti lọ fi ara sí orí bẹ́ẹ̀dì díẹ̀. Láti India, Moki another very super power country ní India. Ìyàwó mi kékeré kan wà níbẹ̀ tí máa ń follow lórí news network yìí níbẹ̀ yẹn kọ́lọ̀ jẹ́ kí àwa náà lè ní owó tá a máa fi expand media wa ju bí a ṣe ń ṣe lọ. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá máa bọ́ sí ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Yẹmí Fátókè mo kí yín ẹni tí mo bá dárúkọ ẹ má fi ṣèbínú mo kí ọmọdé mo kí àgbàlagbà mo kí arúgbó àní ṣe èyí tá a máa sọ tó máa bí àwọn ayé nínú gbogbo tá a bá ń sọ á máa rògbà mọ́ yín lára ni mo ní Yorùbá máa bọ́ nínú wàhálà tàwa àánú ẹ̀ bọ́ fẹ́ bọ́ kọ̀ ìran Yorùbá máa bọ́. It's only the time we don't know, but don't give up. Pray. I do the prayer as well, the Christian, the Muslim, and the traditional one. Let's pray for Tinubu not to die, okay? I know some of you want him to die. I don't want him to die, okay? Because if he dies, Shetima become your president. And that might be a very difficult negotiation. So it's better for us to keep Tinubu there and push and push and push. I'll read the anthem and then we'll lock up the program. I hope you enjoy it. If you can support us, it's voluntary. Do so. If you can't, that's fine. Just pray for me. That will be more than enough. I spoke to Igbowo more than 2 or 3 times yesterday. He's doing very well. Don't ask me where he is. He's fine wherever he is. Iṣẹ́ wa fúnlẹ̀ wa, forílẹ̀ ibi wa, kàgbéga, kàgbéga, kàgbéga fàlẹ́rì. Ìgbàgbọ́ wa ni pé bá ti bẹ̀rù la bọ́ mọ́. Mo kí brother mi triple DRS dáadáa. Ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká ṣiṣẹ́, ká jọlá. Ìṣọ̀kan àtòmìnira ní kẹjẹ ká máa lépa. Tẹ̀síwájú fọ̀pọ̀ ire àtòhun tó dára. Ọmọ Oòduà dìde bọ́ sípò ẹ̀tọ́ rẹ. Ìwọ ni ìmọ́lẹ̀ ògo adúláwọ̀. Mr. Balogun Ṣẹ́gun mo kí yín. Thank you so much, every single one of you that are joining us on this particular late hour program. The title of this particular one says, "The whole Nigerian system was built not to work for anyone. Solution is Yoruba people to exit now." And I and Igbowo and Babakitoye and the rest of the Yorubas are not the cause of the problem of the zoological country called Nigeria. Britain created the problem. God Eledumare, God Jesus, God Anabi will rescue us and protect our land from the invaders that have been used from proxies as Boko Haram terrorists, ISIS, and those that wants to take the land, whether they are Igbos, Hausas, or whatever. Yoruba land is our own, and you respect the territorial ground